Hello, everybody, and welcome back as we're getting ready for Game 2 for Week 3, Day 1 of the Proving Grounds. We just saw TSM Academy give a shellacking to Barrage. I don't want to say it not as it is, because that was a very one-sided game number 1, which then, to me, says that's pressure on Barrage right now. How are they going to try and bounce back? Because they came into this match with a very high level of confidence, Cubby. But before we break into that, let's take a look at what happened in that game number 1. In case that you're just tuning in right now, break it down for me, because it's going to be a lot talking from TSM Academy's side, right? I mean, they're really the ones that were being aggressive in the early stages of making things happen.
Yeah, I don't know if we saw Hanser pop off or like Gengar. It felt like Hanser just like evolved for this one, as this pentakill on Gnar pre 20 minutes. Yeah, they were coming to this fight like a 7k gold lead, and Hanser made that look damn good on this Gnar, as Mega Gnar throwing spaceships all over the place, sending people to the gray screen. Ended up getting a penta and a triple in this one, 4 plates secured on his own. And when you're TSM and you walk out of that early game with a 7k gold lead at 15 minutes, I don't really know what you say as a coach. It's like, good job, let's do that again, right? It was a pretty clean game for
guys.
TSM. Yeah.
And that went exactly how I told you it would in draft, clearly.
Yeah.
And again, looking at it from Barrage's perspective, this is a team that said they win through macro. They use macro to force their opponents into bad situations. And I didn't see that. I didn't really see a lot of macro focus in this game, mostly because, when were they going to try and flex those muscles, right? Every single one of these fights that we're seeing, it's just like TSM Academy have a gold lead. They have a stat lead. They're just able to win out, not necessarily through better positioning, but through just better play in the moment. So now from Raj's perspective, if you're their coach, if you're bringing them into this game number 2, how do you get them to reset, and what do you focus on in the draft here?
Yeah, I mean, I like the point that they try and win with macro as the game goes on. That's something that we have seen from Barrage with their team fight setups. I think that their team fight setups around Dragon have been really good. Even though the pentakill went the way of Hanser, like the idea that Urgot's flanking, they tried to execute on the Xayah. It's the right idea. They were just too far behind to ever get to the point where they can use that strength of theirs to come back in the game and win. It was too much of a deficit. So I think Barrage, they can go back to the drawing board and at least say, hey, you know what? We found a pick or two in the side lane. We attempted some setups. We were just too far behind early. How do we not get in that situation? I think the TF denial from Sword, he's earned that. It's been banned from him every single game except this one. And it felt like even though Sword wasn't the highlight player, just TSM having access to that pick, it allows Cody Son and Hanser to play so aggressive and always threaten those dives that it just ends up being too much for Barrage to deal with. So I think that's one change. I don't want to see Hanser get his Gnar again, and if he does, I want to see a better counter pick to it. And just curious to see what kind of decisions that Barrage has to make. They could also swap to blue side. They haven't played a game on blue side for the entire tournament, so not sure if they want to stay on red and get the counter pick, or they can go to blue and try and get Fnatic that Hecarim that is so important to Barrage as well. So if they have options, just kind of curious to see what they end up deciding to go with.
If you're adapting 2 other bans here, like the Gnar and the TF, that really changes your game plan from what we saw in game number 1. So maybe switching up to the blue side could work. If they just want to first pick that Gnar for themselves on the blue side, that means that they don't have to ban it out here. So we'll see what they decide to do. It's so difficult to say we're going to out macro you and then leave up to TF, because that's a very difficult champion to out macro. He's very good at out macroing his opponents just through split pushing side lanes and then also those plays. Because we did see Barrage, they were trying to keep PCL in that game. APA did go for that TP play topside. They kept trying to collapse onto Hanser in the side lanes. But yeah, when there's a TF that can just kind of show up in your back pocket, becomes a lot harder to do so. So it does look like we actually do have Barrage selecting red for game 2. We do have that confirmation. So they do not want the blue side. They want to continue their string of only red side play. This is going to make the bans, I think, a little harder for them. So I'm not the biggest fan of that call.
I think that you have to really think about... I'm okay leaving up both the Hecarim and the Udyr, because I'm more worried about the Gnar at this point. And I think that some of the pivots that you could make... I know that Fnatic doesn't have the best record on the Udyr. Maybe you can just give him that champion, as I know that the win rate isn't there, but we've seen good play from him with the Udyr. Or maybe you go for something like a Lilia, something else that Barrage has been leaning towards, because it felt like, with that Twist of Fate, you have to now maybe think about taking that off the board. The Gnar, you have to think about a different answer to that. I think that Barrage, they clearly see something that we may not on the cast right now, Kangas, because they want to go with that red side again, make sure they have counter pick to try and help PCL out in that lane against Haunter, and I think there are a lot of champs they have to deny on this side, and TSM being on blue is going to get first pick of the litter with what they want, so curious to see what they end up doing as well. I think they have to first 3 Gnar if it's up, and if Gnar is up, I would think about first 2ing that. I know it's not a great champion for Barrage, like not something they've like really relied upon heavily, but PCL is 8-1 on the Gnar in 9 games, so that is still an option that Barrage has to try and get PCL on that Gnar, even though we've seen him mostly default to like the Aatrox, Camille, Renekton throughout the season.
And we saw TSM Academy focus on junglers. They locked in that Hecarim in game number 1. So if they do something similar, if they're like, okay, Hecarim's up or Udyr's up, let's just lock that in right away. Yeah, I think that Barrage, they need to be thinking, okay, get Haunter off of this Gnar, because clearly their chosen counter pick didn't work out unless you have something else in the tank. I mean, I'm still happy seeing PCL on the likes of things like the Scion. They do have the Volibear flex pick if they can get that. I know it's banned out by TSM Academy in game number 1, but that's a great flex pick for them to play around too that I think PCL looks a little bit better on. Because yeah, I mean, the Urgot, it's cool. It was unique, but something else for this next time around. Either take away the Gnar or lock in something new for you. A player that we didn't really talk about too much during that last game was Gorica. I want to talk about the bot laner here for Barrage while we're waiting for Pick and Ban to come up for game number 2. Because Cody's son was playing a very oppressive style, just shoving in these waves, and Gorica just couldn't quite find his way into these team fights. And if we're looking at Gorica as kind of the late game insurance, you mentioned that earlier before game number 1 started, like if games go later, Gorica's usually the one they look to for Barrage to really carry those. What can we do to enable him now as a carry to actually show up in these team fights? Is it? I mean, maybe the answer is as simple as don't let Haunter get fed and get a pentakill.
Yeah. I mean, like,
that might be easier than I thought it was going to be.
When you get in the first team fight and you're down 7k gold, I mean, like, a lot of the strengths of Barrage we just can never see come to fruition because they were out of the game early. The TSM did a great job of using the early strength they had with their draft and punish Barrage for it. So I want to see Barrage kind of rival that, get off to a better early game, and maybe that's when we can see Gorica more so shine on the play that we've seen out of this guy. He was on Golden Guardians Academy last year as an AD, performed decently well in Academy, but really in Amateur, we've seen him and Winter be one of the best bot lanes throughout Amateur for the tournaments that it took for Barrage to get to Proving Grounds. Gorica on the Jinx has looked pretty decent so far this tournament. I know that Barrage now sit at 2-3 and are now 1 game away from being knocked out, but he has been the player that this team has really relied upon when their backs are up against the wall, and that's exactly where Barrage find themselves here. With so many games under their belt this season, that should help with some of the pressure, but Barrage, I mean, this is a do-or-die series and a do-or-die game for Barrage, so whatever they have in the tank, they have to dig deep and grab it now to try and come back in the series.
They definitely don't want the end of their Proving Grounds run to be 0-2 to TSM Academy. I mean, this is a team that kept saying, we are a higher seed than we're coming in as because of the misfortune that they had throughout their Tier 1 tournament runs. They still did very well in the last chance qualifiers to make it into here, and they felt confident coming in, but I mean, this would be a little heartbreaking for them if this is the way that the game or their kind of run through this season ends. We'll see if they can give some competition for TSM Academy, who looked very strong in that game number 1. But of course, adaptation, League of Legends is never going to be a static game. There will always be opportunities for teams like Barrage to change things up in the ban phase here and get a better pick for themselves. And there we go. First change off the bat. Gnar is taken off the table.
That was probably a good call for Barrage, as, I mean, Haunter was outstanding on that. Like, there's not enough good things to say. I know that he did get caught out twice, but also the game was over because of his play. And so not surprised to see that one off the table. And yeah, I mean, as we said about Dignitas Mirage in that Eulogy, Kangas, sent home by TSM 0-2, you know, not a good look for sure. I don't think Barrage want to fall in that Eulogy with this one too, right? They want to bring a little bit something extra as, man, big change already coming out from the pick ban of Barrage. They took away the Gnar, they took away the Twisted Fate, taking away a lot of the tools that won TSM their last game. And I have to say, for Barrage, we wanted to see a switch-up on this side, and a switch-up it is for sure, as they are still going to leave up both the Hecarim and the Udyr, and TSM knowing how valuable that Hecarim is to Fnatic. They've done their homework. They're going to take that for BABIP, and after that first game, can't really blame him with his performance as well.
Still junglers open on the table here for Fnatic if he wants to go for one. We didn't see Barrage opt for that. They did lock in their 80 carry and support combo. And honestly, now that we don't have the Gnar and the TF, I wouldn't hate if they wanted to kind of run that back and go for something like that Kai'Sa and the Rell. I didn't hate it, but here we go. Nocturne Rell is actually the answer instead. So they're leaving their 80 carry a little bit longer. And keep in mind, Nocturne technically a flex pick. We haven't seen PCL play it. It's only been piloted by Fnatic so far. But they could run it top lane. I don't know if they've been prepping that. Most likely going to be a jungler, though.
And this is probably going to be a Jinx from Gorka. We've seen this be the response for Barrage to the Kai'Sa Alistar lane. Kai'Sa, Cody Sun's most played and best champion throughout this split as well for him between Academy, the Tier 1, and now Proving Grounds. So good to see TSM get their hands on that. They get some nice synergy as well from the Hecarim and the Kai'Sa just diving in. As APA is still going to stick with that Orianna.
Wow.
So more 80 carry bands will now be given over to Gorka. I fully expect TSM to take away the Jinx, take away the Xayah.
Yeah, you have to at this point.
Yeah, curious to see what they end up going with.
He's played so much Jinx throughout the season, or at least the last couple days or weeks, and then also Xayah being his second runner there. And yeah, you got two bans. You could just take away the two most likely options for Gorka. Get him on something he's less comfortable on, because this is Cody Sun's comfort. So this is now a new win condition for TSM Academy. They won through top lane last time around. They could focus on the bottom side instead, but we do see Barrage Esports realizing there's no mid laner locked in for TSM Academy just yet. Sword has a pretty deep champion pool. It plays a lot of things, but they at least do not want to deal with that Zoe.
And what I also like from Barrage here, so this Nocturne Rell, it's a combo that we've seen quite a bit. They actually are the ones that pioneered this. I was talking with Fnatic about this. They played it against Noorg in the finals of Cup in Game 2 into a Xayah. And that was the first time we saw the Nocturne Rell combo where Nocturne dives in, you proc the Rell stun from that tether that Rell has. They didn't really realize it interacted like that, and it was that strong. And after that, a lot of people started picking this up around the world. So Barrage, one of the first teams to play this strategy in the global meta, as they're going to take their AD here and hold that Nocturne flex. I expect this to be Fnatic's Nocturne, but it still can go top into TSM, as with all the champions that have been banned away, Kangas, we still have access to Tristana for Barrage, something that Gorka hasn't played as much of, but a very strong pick in the meta. And I like this composition for Barrage already. This feels a lot more in their comfort zone, their wheelhouse. We talked about their team fight, their macro. Orianna, Tristana, those carries in team fights have the potential to really do a lot of heavy lifting. So I like the setup already from Barrage, as more responses coming out from TSM. They're going to pick the Renekton, and most likely the Karma, the mid lane for Sword. He has played this before. The Bash brothers are coming in. This is going to be all about Haunter and Babip, and if they can get in that backline and wreak havoc with the empowerment they receive from the Karma as well.
Yeah, Haunter, Babip. You also got to look at your son there, who had a fantastic game number 1, really gelling or jiving with the team right now, and Babip too. So a lot of engage options for TSM Academy. They have go buttons themselves, but Barrage Esports, they're looking at a lot of engage options for them, and they opt for the Scion. So playing the tank into the Renekton. I like this. PCL, this is a much safer lane for him to play in. Not going to be harassed nearly as much as a Gnar would, and you can just try and hold out that Renekton and then just be a team fight front line for the rest of your team, while Fnatic can hopefully put his attention elsewhere.
So these are the comps, once again, Kangas, we were expecting out of both teams, right? TSM, they have the full court press. They're going to have shove in every lane early. That Karma, a lot of potential, a lot of power, levels 1 through 7 before Orianna can start to contest the wave. And Barrage are going to be under siege, so we're going to have to see if they can survive, because if they do, having Scion into a relatively low damage composition from TSM with Orianna and Tristana behind you, if you get one reset on Tristana, that's all Barrage are going to need to win team fights if they position well and play these well, most likely. So we were expecting these styles coming in. I'm just a little bit worried for Barrage, the fact they got blown out of the last early game, Kangas. I'm interested to see if they can stabilize and have a better early game in this one to try and get themselves in better footing so we can see some of that team fight macro that their coach was talking about.
And clearly, TSM Academy were trying to draft around this Nocturne. It was locked in very early for Barrage. I like the Nocturne pick, but if it's locked in that early, you can draft around that with the Karma Shields, with Alistar, Hecarim, Renekton, that can all essentially play peel duty onto something like a Nocturne if you dive in. So, and Fnatic's got to be very careful about the engages that he decides to go for, because if you go for the wrong engage, yeah, you got the Rell backing you up, but you are still a fairly squishy assassin until you can get to that Sterix gauge. So, pressure's on Barrage. They got a fun composition. Let's see if they can pull it off here. We're loaded into Summoner's Rift for Game 2, our second of the day. TSM Academy find themselves one win away from continuing in the loser's bracket. Barrage backs against the wall. They have to win this one for a chance at continuing themselves. We'll see which team's able to clutch it out right now. TSM battle lines blown across the start right now. And just like last time, Cubby, where do we expect to see the action happening early on? Because these are very different team compositions from each of these teams, so I'm expecting different early game strategies from each.
I want to see if TSM try to attempt to dive top. They could do something where Sword crashes the first 3 waves in this matchup, and then TP's up top on that 3rd wave to try and really force pressure on the Scion. Hecarim is starting on the bot side, so they might be able to set that up before the Crab. And I think that that's probably the play that's easiest for TSM to pull off early, just given the fact that Scion is going to be pushed in due to the strength of Renekton. He doesn't enjoy the first few levels against Renekton. Kind of needs those items to start to match the power of the Croc in the top lane. And I think that's how TSM are going to be able to break the game open. I just want to see if they're able to go for that play. As Haunter,
he's going to take a chunk here.
Yeah, Haunter's getting some nice early harass.
Okay, decent traded back from PCL, though. So both top laners just feeling each other out here before going into their lanes. But Haunter, he wants more. He's like, where are you going, man? This isn't just a farm lane right now. I'm putting on the pressure and getting aggressive right now, trying to get control of this lane. But you got to be careful doing it too fast, too early, because Fnatic did start top side, and he could look for an early roam himself. I know that you usually don't see the Nocturnes go for ganks this early, but, I mean, if Haunter's playing too aggressive, he's really feeling himself. Maybe this is an opportunity.
And you see Haunter with that early level 2 already playing around this wave like he has the power, the priority, is actually going to opt to crash this one. So that 3-wave setup I was talking about, not the move that the top laner TSM is going to opt for. So this wave will now be bouncing back. Should still be okay as Renekton is going to have priority over it, but I still think we need to keep our eyes up there, because if TSM want to break the map open early, as they should in this composition, that's going to be the power point they can attack. It's either that or the jungle tempo and pacing around Fnatic, right? Nocturne does not clear as fast as Hecarim. Very much 1/6, so he has access to that paranoia, that ultimate. Those are the 2 areas TSM can punish, but now Winter, he's dead.
Your son with the flash engage.
Oh, wow.
That's first blood easily picked up by Cody's son. And man, what a play. Your son's really been impressing me so far this series, Cubby. I mean, coming in so late to the TSM roster, not playing with them throughout the entire Academy season, but then showing up here replacing Fizzy, who, I mean, congratulations, Fizzy, collegiate player, got a chance to play on TSM Academy and try and show your stuff, but your son was the intended support that they really wanted here. And yeah, it's for plays like that. That's why you pick up this support.
Yeah, your son and Cody's son, this bot lane has been looking very good the last 2 series, and I know they've been going up against amateur teams, but we've seen Meech and King of Dignitas Mirage and Gorka Winter do this to bot lanes across the entire amateur split, as Fnatic is here looking for some revenge. But TSM not going to overextend.
Nope, never mind. TSM does go for it. They actually try to engage your son's in there, but Winter and Gorka jump in, and because he said a Fnatic, he was there too. An easy cleanup here for Barrage. Maybe over-aggression from TSM Academy's bot laner, not respecting the fact that they didn't have eyes on the enemy jungler.
A good timer from Fnatic. He's going to help his bot lane shove out. Does they actually get Cody's son?
They might get more. Flash under turret. Fnatic's in there. The resets from Gorica. Maybe Babbitt can turn this one. He jumps in. 1v3. He might just trade his life, though. Yeah, he gets one. Oh, Winter almost goes down. Gorica's in trouble. A huge knock-up from Winter. The outplay from Barrage's bot lane. That was a game of inches.
We talked about how Barrage, they rely on Gorica when their backs are up against the wall. We expect that to be the late game, but the bot lane of Barrage showing up early as we get a replay this, and Fnatic, such a good setup from him, right? He realizes that the wave is shoving out. TSM, they think that they have the power. They do with the level on Winter, but Fnatic is there to turn it. And then this re-engage from Winter, Cody-san doesn't respect the remount from Winter, who gets the knockback into the stun. Barrage, they commit to the play, they find the kill, and then this outplay from Gorica and Winter. Winter flashing out to dodge out on or the Q damage, just like how he positioned, waits for him to get the shield with the dismount, and then re-engages with Gorica. Really solid play from the bot lane of Barrage. They were able to turn that one back in their favor, and Kangas, it's not looking like it's going to be all TSM in this early game. Barrage, they have something to say this time.
Babbitt, he saw it. He saw the triple kill in his eyes. He's like, I got this, guys. It's like, remember that Worlds performance? This is Worlds BABIP. I'm bringing it to Proving Grounds, but unfortunately just doesn't quite have the damage right there. So Barrage find themselves now in this pivotal game number 2.
Ooh.
Not really a gold lead, but at least not a gold deficit, right? You know, that's something to say here. But Dragon is the focus right now of TSM Academy. They are on the bottom half of the map. BABIP will start that one out, and he does have priority around his mid and bot lane, so this should be his.
Yeah, the power of the Karma, just being able to get shoved into APA, and then the fact that the TSM bot lane was able to actually get back out onto the map first, despite going down, but Fnatic lying in wait. He might go for something here.
Ooh, turns in onto Cody's Sun. There's no summoner spells on either
TP.
bot laner. There's a TP coming in here. It is from Sword. Karma gets the slows, actually just going for the root. Winter's going to go down. Fnatic already fell, and oof. Over-aggression from Barrage on the bottom half of the map. TSM Academy capitalize on it and pick up 2.
Barrage, they were looking for a punish, but Urasan was able to Hex Flash out just in time, and the TP commit from Sword. Doesn't lose anything for that in the mid lane, so love that play coming out from the young mid laner of TSM Academy, as using some of that early priority, that early shove to get a positive play across the map. Exactly what we were looking for out of Sword in this game and in this series, Kangas. It's now a 1k gold lead going over to TSM with that first Dragon. Now we just have to keep our eyes on this first Rift Herald. If TSM are able to utilize the priority of the Renekton to take that one down for themselves, could really start to get the snowball going and get a couple K gold lead before the points despawn in this game.
We've seen a lot of action from Fnatic early on in this game. Okay, right as I say that he does hit level 6. I was going to say all the focus bot side meant that he's kind of behind in XP, but now BABIP's actually the one behind. Level 5 in Fnatic's jungle.
This could be dangerous.
Yeah,
Sword's here, though.
Okay, wait. Yeah, it is going to be a 2v1. PCL's there. APA has teleport, so do they want to go for it? APA has not channeled it yet. That's a lot of damage here onto Fnatic. He is getting bursted down. I think he might just fall under his turret. He's trying to stay alive. There we go. The Fury is still alive! That health bar was a sliver. I could barely even see it. Hanser flashing in. That's very aggressive onto APA. Okay, they trade flashes. Now Sword's got the damage. Trying to get onto PCL. Flash out of the Scion as well. Multiple summoner spells used by Barrage, but at least they get the kill onto BABIP and keep their jungler safe.
And this is what we've seen out of TSM throughout the tournament. They have an idea of how to play early, but every once in a while they just overcommit just a tad as Fnatic gets out with a sliver of health bar, turns off the lights, manages to turn that play in the favor of Barrage. A lot's invested here by both teams, but the fact that Barrage, they weather the storm, this was the importance of them. It's so important that Fnatic has 6. As Sword, BABIP, they find Fnatic with his pants down in the jungle, but overextending into this turret, it's just too much. A great ultimate from PCL as well, as he drives straight into the jungler of TSM, takes him down, and they're able to peel off APA and PCL. So Barrage, they do lose the top wave, but it's not a disastrous play. They're able to repel that play. The Rift Herald's still up on the map, so TSM aren't able to snowball that. While Hanser has quite a bit of a big lead in this bot lane, still good position for Barrage in this game, Kangas.
It's not a 5k deficit at this point, so they're looking at that compared to last game thinking this is a success. The unfortunate part is the turret plates went over to Hanser. He was still alive, was still able to get some gold up there, and also you just look at that CS differential in the top lane. This is massive. Meanwhile, TSM Academy on the bot side actually flexing their muscles a little bit here, invading, taking a blue buff, taking a Gromp, trying to put this Nocturne further behind because he hasn't been able to catch any kills for himself. And Fnatic with the early game Nocturne, you really want to make these early ultimates count and get yourself snowballing ahead so that you can be the threat. So far has not been able to pick up those kills, so put a little bit back on his own timer here. Let's see how TSM Academy can play around that.
Yeah, and speaking of those ultimates, he does have the second Paranoia up and active, Kangas. Interested to see where he's able to use that one, as I think it's got to be bot, because of the top lane dive. I know the Barrage, they were able to repel it, but it did give Hanser about a full level lead, and he's up 40 creeps on the Scion because they were still able to deny that wave from the skirmish. So I think the only place that Fnatic can really go, unless he's countering a play top, the only point of power that Barrage has is bottom lane right now, and I want to see if that's where the next Nocturne ult goes. For now, he is doing the full clear, trying to keep up in tempo, keep up in items, Kangas says. Once you get access to that Stride Breaker, Nocturne does get a pretty big power spike and a lot more power in the team fights. A lot easier for him to make sure that he's able to stick to the target he selects and land that Fear Tether.
He was doing a great job of farming out in the early game, was actually ahead of BABIP for a little portion there, but now BABIP has caught back up here and puts his attention onto that Rift Herald. Meanwhile, Hanser just aggressively trading against PCL, even though PCL does have a little bit of armor under his belt right now, still feeling that one. So with the roam from Haunter down here, this should be a Rift Herald secured, but okay, Fnatic does have ultimate.
They're thinking about
They also have APA ult, so they have a very strong combo right now. Roam's coming up here from the bot lane too. There's a Paranoia. They want to get onto Babip. Yeah, okay, maybe they turn onto the Rift Herald. Oh, there we go. Babip does take it away. Can he get away? Ult's to safety. Now Winter engages here onto Sword. He finds himself caught out from the rest of his team. He was just trying to help everybody. Come on. Good guy, Sword playing the Karma mid lane does go down. Barrage do not get the objective, but they will get a kill.
And Barrage, they do deny the objective away from TSM Academy as well. As you can see, Fnatic standing on that eye Kangas, making sure that it doesn't go over to the side of TSM, so they won't get access to Shelly, access to extra plates. Fortunately for them, Cody-san was able to pick up 2 waves, get a plate, and crash into the bot lane. So a lot invested for Barrage to answer that play, but once again, Barrage, we've seen more out of them and their ability to try and rival the early plays that TSM are setting up in this game, and because of that, a 1k gold deficit for their composition. Not bad as they start to transition into this mid game. We're going to get another look. Fnatic turns off the whites. They split the 2 Bash brothers of TSM and Sword. A little bit late to the party, gets punished here by Gorica and Winter, who find a really nice engage, chain their CC successfully, and able to take down the young mid laner TSM Academy.
Tried to flash the wall too, so down a summoner spell now. And also the gold going over to APA, his lane opponent, gets that Leandrius. So APA, this is going to be a very different Orianna than we saw in Game 1. Game 1, we saw that Ori did not pack a punch. Ultimates were not that threatening, but this time around, hitting that item power spike much earlier, one of the first in the game to complete a mythic alongside his own AD carry, means that there's actually a window here where Barrage could try and fight this dragon. They have item power spikes, but Fnatic's not ready for it. He's not on the right side of the map, and TSM do have shoved waves, so another dragon over to TSM Academy. That's 2. They're starting to stack these up.
Yeah, and Barrage, they have decent footing in this game, Kangas, but time really is their friend, just given the fact that they have Gorica, who, with extra levels, is going to stack on that extra range. Time for APA is going to mean that he's going to start doing a lot more damage and out-pressuring the Karma as the game goes on. So I like the fact they're going to wait for the 3rd dragon to try and get that contest off. Just make sure that they're able to keep this at a 1k gold deficit. If they're able to get in the 3rd dragon on that footing, Barrage is pretty happy with this early game and how it went. That's about where their comp wants to be and where they're going to really start to hit their stride. So the fact that Barrage seeding that one, not bad. But that said, as we return to the lane states before the plates fall, Kangas, we still have to talk about Haunter and his lead in this top side. Is once again, he's had a little bit more jungle help this game, but still getting it done by himself in the top lane.
Yeah, this is 2 games in a row now where he's getting 3 turret plates by himself, essentially. BCL, yeah, you're playing the Scion, so not expected to do too much to really fight back against the Renekton, but hopefully just hold the line as long as you can. But when you're down 45 CS and 3 turret plates, Haunter doesn't necessarily need kills to start getting fed right now. But he doesn't do that much damage to PCL either. We see him actually aggressively trading and losing these trades. Wow. Yeah, okay, that's a Scion, everybody. That's a tank.
Yeah, as the game goes on and Sion gets access to these items, he starts to trade a little bit better. Haunter with the priority can grab fruit in the river and also heal back up from his Cold and Meek, right, with the Q. So he's okay playing aggressive just to make sure that those waves are in for now. But we talked about how time is the friend of Barrage, right? And the fact they're down 1k gold. Not the worst thing in the world for them, right? Like, this is a stable, somewhat stable early game. They didn't allow TSM to get a 7k gold lead like they had at this time in the last one, Kangas. And we're in for a much more closely contested bout as Barrage, playing for their tournament lives, need to win this one to stay alive.
This is definitely playing more into Barrage's strengths. We heard that, hey, they want to out-macro their opponents, capitalize on mistakes, put them into bad situations. This is a comp that can actually do that. So I'm happy to see them not only with a comp they're more comfortable on, but also just appearing like they can pilot much better in the early stages of this game. The game is really not running away from them right now. We see PCL complete that first item, so Sunfire Aegis is there. He has a little bit more wave clear now. Yeah, I was really hyping up Haunter. It's a little anticlimactic that right after all those statements I was saying, he's 45 CS up, he's got 3 turret plays. I forgot, wait a minute, okay. PCL is still just playing a tank, so
that's a Scion, yeah.
Yeah, that's a Scion. He can kind of hold on forever. So Barrage have at least a rock to play around. Speaking of, Fnatic on the top half of the map. Does he want to look for anything right now? No, both junglers do just back off.
And now, the good news here, if you are a TSM fan, yes, this top lane matchup starting to stabilize more in favor of Barrage, but Sword did just finish the Moonstone, and I'm really looking for TSM to try and group and really force
Sword's
as...
alone yet again. He has flash, it has come back off cooldown, but look at this, Fnatic still on top of him, Sword stayed alive, he flashes away, answered by Fnatic, but he just cannot kill the Karma. They can't get on top now, Babbitt re-engages, they have Haunter here, Yurson is joined in, that's a shockwave!
Cody's here.
Blows up 2 members, but here comes Cody's son just running down members of Barrage, and TSM Academy will clean up the fight. All 5 members group up, Barrage were missing Gorica, TSM Academy find a couple kills.
And that's the big difference of the fight, Kangas. The fact that Cody's son, he killer instincts in after all the cooldowns were used by Barrage to get that initial kill on the Babbitt. And Cody just cleans up the entire fight on the Kai'Sa. So much gold going into the late game insurance, the big carry for TSM as the fights go on. And Cody roaming up to that top side really pays off for TSM as that 1k gold lead, they're starting to extend it, the part of the game where they have power and Barrage. They have the Nocturne Rel combo, right? They're going on to Sword. That Blast Cone from Sword actually so clever to knock Winter back. If he doesn't do that, he goes down instantly. Ends up buying so much time and enough time to bait Cody, or bait Barrage into the fight where Cody's son answers with this killer instinct.
Yeah, it looked like APA Shockwave might have been able to blow up 2 members, but a really good flash coming out there from Haunter means that he's able to keep doing damage to the back line, and yeah, Cody's son just cleans it up, does so much damage in that team fight. Barrage, they had the play, they thought they got it. They're like, okay, we see Sword alone yet again, but little did they realize TSM Academy were rotating everybody up to the top half of the map. So let's catch up on what happened after that play right now, because the bottom turret did go down to Gorica. It was traded for the turret top side for TSM Academy, and now TSM Academy get this Rift Herald with this 2,000 gold lead. So it really hasn't snowballed out of control. They're not like after that team fight in nearly as dominant a position as last game, but it's starting to mount up as this next dragon is spawning. Okay, never mind. Okay, you don't even get to talk. Oh, what a shockwave coming in here from APA. Does so much damage for TSM Academy. They still can outstat them. They still have the front line. Alistair tanks up so much damage. Will eventually go down, but Alistair teleported into the back line. APA is taken down. It's just Gorka to do damage, but I don't think he's got enough. Yep, Winter, BCL trying to be the front line, trying to soak up as much as they can. Both will fall. Gorka's the only one left. Gubby, I'm so sorry I called you Coco at the beginning of that, but regardless, TSM Academy will win another fight.
Hey, I take it as a compliment, and TSM, they take the fight as Barrage. They tried to engage, tried to find the clean engage with the combo with the Nocturne, the Rel of the Orianna. It was there. They executed it correctly, but the healing from this Karma on the Moonstone spike, APA is the only member with heal cut. He goes down instantly as he doesn't have flash and access to the shockwave to self-heal himself. And from there, TSM, they run through the fight as that shockwave. It's a beautiful start to the engage, but Cody's son, he just ults into his turret, and Barrage find themselves overextended, and Haunter, a perfect TP right into the backline, gets right on APA, and oh, what happened here? Barrage get the dragon?
I guess so. TSM Academy looks like they reset. We're just trying to catch jungle camps instead. Actually, maybe they didn't reset in time.
I think they started it, and Barrage brought 5 and were able to bully them off, which is a huge deal for Barrage because that buys them 5 minutes, Kangas.
Yeah, that's a big pickup right there, because TSM Academy, if they had gotten that, that puts them on Dragon Soul Point. That would have been huge, especially an Ocean Soul Point with this team composition. They would have been essentially unkillable if they can get that, but now they're looking for another play on the bot side here. APA, Shockwave, there we go. Fnatic follows in. Unfortunately gets feared back. Maybe they can still find it. Maybe they can still force it. PCL ults in. They have the damage this time around. There we go. Babbitt will fall down. The rest of Barrage are here to play backup, and TSM Academy have no answer.
That was a bowling ball from downtown. Just the strike lands on the jungler of TSM, Kangas. He goes down, and Barrage, nothing, no objectives are on the map, right? There's not really a play for them. They managed to find something positive in the bot lane. A pick forced by Fnatic and the rest of Barrage with this Nocturne. As Barrage, I love the fact they're keeping things hectic. If anyone has watched Barrage games and watched how they got here, this is really where they thrive, and they're very good at punishing cooldowns being down with this Nocturne. And you can see Barrage with this pick really trying to force the tempo and make a play whenever they have access to that paranoia, Kangas.
I gotta give credit to a team that goes for a play that aggressive twice in a row and loses both times. They try to engage onto Sword in the top jungle. They try to engage onto Cody-san in the mid lane. Both of those go poorly, but they still are willing to pull the trigger. They say it doesn't matter that the last 2 haven't worked. We have to make one of these work. and they do. That's a big play right there for Barrage. What more can they get for it? Because TSM Academy still have control of the map. They still have all these waves pushed in, and they get the Rift Herald dropped bottom side. So theoretically, TSM Academy, regardless of losing their jungler right there, are coming out ahead. Now, unfortunately, PCL could be in some trouble here. Babib, so you seeing him knocking him back towards Haunter, who will do the damage sword, and Yurasan have joined up too. Okay, PCL's just buying time. Actually, he might be out. He is very far away from anybody from TSM Academy. And unfortunately, they can't really do anything else. Just keep pushing this bot wave, I suppose. He's out.
The Alarm special coming in for PCL as he's able to cruise his way on out. TSM, they will answer by crashing a wave into that bot turret and now getting shoved onto mid as Barrage. They were overcommitting to trying to protect this Baron. Going to lose a little bit of damage on their mid tier 2, but nothing that's going to lose them the tower or the game. Trying to keep the map stable. And the good thing for Barrage is if you look at the map, yes, they are down 3k gold now, but they've really been funneling gold into their 2 carries, Kangas. APA sitting at 215 CS, almost at the 2-item Orianna spike. Tristana, 3-0-3 for Gorka, level 12, so has access to some of that extra range and sitting at that 2-item spike. These are the people that they need gold on. PCL, he doesn't need all the resources, right? He's going to be Scion as the game goes on. So I know that Barrage, they're still at a deficit. This game is still definitely TSM favored, but time is the friend of Barrage. They're putting gold on the members they need to put gold on, and I think that we're still in for some very closely contested team fights. This one goes on, and Barrage gets access to more heal cut.
Scary thing that I'm looking at, though, is if you compare that to TSM Academy, Cody's Sun also getting fed right now. 2 items completed, close to that third. 5-1-5, and a full whopping 30 CS up over Gorka. So, yeah, there's 2 damage threats from Barrage right now, right? We understand that, but the 1 damage threat from TSM Academy can blow up either of them very, very fast. Meanwhile, Barrage have struggled to get on top of Cody's Sun throughout this game so far, so this game could still go either way. It's all going to come down to execution, and that's where Barrage is confident. They have said, we can execute in these team fights. We are one of the best team fighting teams in this whole tournament. This is the time to prove it. Here's the engage coming in from Yurasan onto APA. Haunter with a huge flank. Now comes in Babib. They're trying to take down APA. The Orianna's going to be out of the fight away. Now comes in the Nocturne finally, but Fnatic can't even clean anybody up. The fight's just over. TSM Academy win it that easily.
Wow.
Cody Sun cleans up. Ults in 2. PCL's in trouble. Gorka can't do anything. He can't even auto-attack anybody. He's just got to run away, and there's no turrets to fall back on. This is going to be an ace. TSM Academy are just running through Barrage. A clean 0 for 5. TSM Academy dominating in this series.
And I thought that Yurasan was going in too early. He didn't have the follow-up, but they were able to chain CC APA where he still didn't have access to the flash when that fight started, and he never even got a shockwave off Kangas, and he is the only member on the team who has access to heal cut. So once APA is off the table, this Moonstone Karma, everyone is just invincible on the side of TSM, and Yurasan finding the engage, finding the angle with the help of Haunter, who burns Splash. Watch them chain CC APA. Just beautiful play coming out from TSM Academy in the team fight. Carry syncing up to attack the correct member of Barrage. When APA is off, he is kind of the linchpin of this composition. He's the one that's able to control space. Now that no space can be controlled, the Bash Brothers of TSM just get to run rampant, being empowered by this Moonstone. And a clean ace for the Academy squad as they are looking to make this matchup a quick 2-0 in their favor.
Yurasan baited Barrage into thinking that the front line of that fight was going to be coming from mid lane. But little did they realize Haunter was flanking and Babip was over the wall to just ult onto APA. So the front line was actually more on the river side, and Winter tries to engage. No longer there to peel for his key carries. Barrage losing that fight is really rough for their composition right now. Now down 6k gold. The Dragons picked up by TSM Academy. They're not denied another one, and now they find themselves on that Dragon Soul timer here. This might be dangerous from Barrage. They don't have vision down.
TSM are in the jungle.
TSM are there. Okay, yeah. Babip just goes for the steal. He just takes away the red buff. I thought maybe they would commit for more, but they don't at the end of the day. TSM Academy, though, still with wave control in every single wave right now. They have full control of Summer's Rift.
And I like how TSM are playing this one, too, because they realize against the Nocturne, playing 2 lanes is their best option. So just keeping bot lane at a handshake, making sure they're able to control this topside jungle, and prevent any picks from going to the side of Barrage with this Nocturne in their pocket. Really good control coming out from the Academy team, who looks much improved compared to what we saw of them against Zeus in the first series of the tournament, Kangas, where they dropped to the losers bracket. TSM look like they want to get the 2-0, look like they want to continue their run, move on, continue to challenge these academy teams as this mid tier 2 set to fall. Total control of the Baron over to TSM Academy, Kangas. And how do Barrage get out of this handcuff that TSM's putting them in? Look at how dark this side of the jungle is for Barrage.
So many control wards, so many regular wards. Baron started up, and Barrage, yeah, they get that one long-range ward, and that's it. Now they got approach through vision. No vision of their own, but the Baron's getting shredded. I don't even think that they're going to make it in time. Maybe Fnatic can go for a miracle steal, but he needs vision right there. Yursan's trying to push him out. There we go. Paranoia is out, but it's too late. Maybe they can take down Yursan. Maybe they can find the engage. Barrage with some chain CC from themselves, but Hanser's still alive. Hanser hasn't gone down. Babip just goes in. Cody onto the backline doing damage. Barrage are routed. TSM Academy, that's going to be game. They get the Baron. They win the team fight. They might not end it off of this push right now, but that breaks the back of Barrage. There was so little that they could do in that instance to turn it around, but unfortunately, they don't find the play. TSM Academy with full control.
And APA, once again, has flash up this time, but is found by the Bash Brothers of TSM Academy. Haunter able to get on top of the mid laner of Barrage, stun him up, chain CC him down with the rest of his squad, and TSM, they pick the early game composition, Kangas. They are executing on it beautifully as they're going to take their first inhibitor of the game. They have Baron when Ocean Soul spawns in 1 minute and 40 seconds, and Barrage looking like they are on death's door. The team that has played over 90 games in Amateur, the only team that top 4 the first 3 tier 2s, came in underseeded, and they're looking to go home early against TSM Academy, who are showing up big today.
Like, they just don't do the damage.
Yeah.
Monster and Yursan just survived for so long.
They one-shot APA again. He couldn't get anything off after he goes down, and he is the one that's controlling space that can try and kite out the Hecarim and the Renekton, but the engages from TSM just too clean. They're finding the right member too early in the fight against Barrage, and now 1 minute out from Ocean Soul. TSM, they've staked their territory in the bot side jungle of Barrage as they have an uphill hill to fight through, and PCL going in, running an ultimate optimistic.
I don't want to be misunderstood right now. It's a miracle if Barrage can clutch this one out. This would be the team fight to end all team fights if they can actually turn this one around, because TSM have such a massive lead. They still have the Baron buff there. You have Supers pushing mid, looking to take down this inhibitor bot side. And Barrage without the Sign ultimate, how do they look to start this fight? Maybe Winter can try and go in. Maybe they can find access onto Cody-san in the backline, but he's got both summoners still up. They just got to give over this inhibitor. It will go down. Now it's the team fight started actually by TSM Academy. They do get onto the backline, but still Cody-san's untouched. He's able to just kite away easy enough, but unfortunately the same cannot be said for Barrage. They will fall. Double kill to Cody-san. Give him the triple kill. Is this going to be another Penta? Do they go for it? APA and Gorka are still up. I think TSM want to give it to him. There we go. Okay, he goes golden. Gorka, that's so much damage. That's a quadra kill. It's going to be another Penta kill. No, it didn't quite count. We'll give it to him. A pentakill in the TSM Academy. 2 games, 2 pentas, and a quick 2-0. TSM Academy will continue through the losers bracket.
TSM Academy, everyone was kind of counting this team out, saying they weren't looking too hot, that they just knocked out the weakest team of the tournament in Dignitas Mirage. And they come back roaring with the Renekton, with the Hecarim. Haunter and Babip syncing up in that series, so key for them as they rout Barrage in a quick 2-game sweep and continue their path in the losers bracket in this tournament, Kangas. Looking significantly improved from last week. The weekend did them wonders as they played great League of Legends today.
That was one of the more one-sided series that we've seen so far in this tournament. And I went into this one thinking this is going to be a close. I thought it was going to go 2-1. I didn't know exactly who I was favoring to win. You thought Barrage was going to 2-0?
TSM, they proved me real wrong, man. Whoever we interview is might have some mean words for me. Deservedly so. But TSM, the engages the team play, Kangas, in these fights. Just look at how they're killing the Orianna first in every single fight. They were really on sync today with their play, and Barrage just didn't have an answer to it.
Barrage, they looked cleaner in the early stages. They looked like, okay, maybe Barrage can actually turn this one around. They do have a pretty tight goal differential between the teams. They have a composition that they can play the way that they like to play, but then they just couldn't kill anybody. Yet again, they never got on top of Cody's son. He was always in a safe position, and APA just gets blown up way too early in fight after fight after fight. TSM Academy just had such a killer instinct and willingness to just dive in onto this Orianna.
And that really was the big difference as Barrage. It took them until now to really find that dream fight where they get the 4-man engage from Windsor, but the goal deficit just too much once again in this game. 2 different games, 2 different paths to get there, but the same story, Kangas, is TSM. They take the early game composition. They're able to win the early game and snowball that into a sub-30-minute victory. As TSM Academy, with this early game strength now, looking significantly improved, and a team that wants to make it be feared in the losers bracket, as they were the first ones today to move on, and Barrage, the first team to go home. Hearts out to them. They played over 90 games this season and played very well. Unfortunate day for them, but they have a lot to be proud of.
Yeah, a lot to be proud of. Still, the fact that you're able to make it here, this is every single Academy team made it in. So 10 Academy teams represented here out of the 16. That only left 6 spots open for amateur teams. Barrage still claiming one of those spots at the end of the day. Somebody will have to make a eulogy. I don't remember which casters are on tomorrow, but you better make it one hell of a eulogy for those guys because they fought hard. But TSM Academy, they're making quick work of this losers bracket. I mean, the 2-0 over Dignitas Mirage, now a 2-0 over Barrage. Which a lot of people were favoriting to win this. And now they're going to be going up against the winner of our next match that will happen later today in Dignitas Academy versus FlyQuest Academy. I mean, what a turnaround for this team. And one particular player I want to highlight in particular is your son. Really jiving with the team now this week. Looks so much better than he was before. Just for some clarification, with Fizzy, TSM Academy throughout the entirety of 2021, 7-9. In overall game record, 7 wins, 9 losses. With your son, they were 5-8 going into this week, so slightly below in win-loss ratio, but now bumping that number up, very, very close here. And if they can continue this string, I think your son's looking great with Babbitt, some great roam times together, and really, really good focus in those team fights. So awesome to see from TSM Academy. It looks like we're getting ready for the interview coming up here shortly, but before that comes in, I mean, before the casters tomorrow get to eulogize him, any other final words for Barrage? I owe something for Kari here. What was it? Barrage Burger Boys in Blue?
Yeah, the Burger Boys in Blue, as they like to play for the Flips. But no, I mean, as we say goodbye to this amateur team, I know that everyone signed different contracts in amateur. These players, I think that all 5 of them throughout the season have made a case in some of their games is why they deserve to be playing at the next level. And while they fought at Proving Grounds now in I think a 9th through 12th finish, not what the team was looking for. I think there's still a lot of promising talent on that roster that we could see making waves in Academy as the years go forward. But Barrage had a great season, but I do want to focus on TSM Academy, who just really showed up today, played fantastic, and I'm excited to talk to the member at TSM Academy with how they were able to exactly get those wins, because this was a different look from them, more strength from them, and it feels like they're starting to piece things together. And though like the losers bracket, there are not a lot of teams down here that play really dominant early games and fully commit to that. We've seen EG and Norway have a lot of success doing that in the upper bracket, and if TSM can somehow replicate that and continue this run, they could be a team that we have to worry about as this tournament goes on.
Could be the dark horse of the lower bracket for sure. Cubby, I'm laughing right now because I just heard from the producers in my ear. We do, in fact, have our interviewee selected, and it will be Hanser from TSM Academy coming in here, the man who got the pentakill in game number 1. Hanser, how could you just do that to a team? A team of young guys coming in here, amateur organization with all NA players, the hope of NA, and you had to do it to him.
Well, I gotta show him what's up, you know? Just gotta show him.
Gotta give him a welcoming
to
be
LCS, you know?
Exactly. Does this make you the gatekeeper of Academy? It's like if you can beat Hanser, that means that you can qualify now to get onto an Academy team, but otherwise you're still stuck down in amateur?
No, I'm not the gatekeeper.
We reserve that for Fabby exclusively.
Yeah, that could be someone else.
Yeah. But Hanser, I know that today we've seen you guys opt for a lot of these early game strategies, putting Sword on champions that get a lot of mid lane priority, trying to play out early. We've seen that kind of go to varying success for you guys early in this tournament, but today it looks like you guys are really turning things around and really starting to sync up. Is this something that the weekend of practice kind of helped you guys? You guys made a lot of strides, or is this like just the way that scrims have been going for you guys and you haven't been able to show that on stage yet?
I think it's just a result of all our practice the last few weeks. This is something we've been practicing for a long time. And in our previous matches, I think against Zeus, we really failed to play correctly and just be on the same page. But today I think we had a lot better of a showing, especially game 1. Game 2 was a bit rough, but not perfect from our standpoint. But I think we're definitely improving at good rates.
Who are you looking at? Because, again, this is quick work that you're making of the losers bracket right now. So do you think that you have competition down here, or do you think that you've finally hit that stride and you're just going to ride this all the way out and be kind of this dark horse showing up late into the Prude's bracket and go all the way to the end there? Because I'm looking at the rest of the field. I haven't seen anybody put on performances quite like that so far.
I actually don't know who else is in the lower bracket right now.
I'll run through. We got Dignitas Academy, FlyQuest Academy, 100 Thieves Academy, Immortals Academy, and then Zeus and GGA.
Well, I think overall for the whole tournament, probably NoOrg is our biggest competitor. And I think they're, for us, the team to beat because they play, a very similar style. And I think they're probably one of the strongest teams in this tournament. So that's who I'm looking forward to playing. I'm going to look forward to our matches day by day, week by week, but I want to end up playing against NoOrg and beating them.
And, getting to that point, obviously your roster, you have yourself, Cody Sun, Babip, who've all made Worlds appearances, and then surrounding yourself with Sword and Yurson, who are really up and coming, some younger players that you're trying to develop, and who really showed up today. What's it been like for you kind of having that role where you're helping these younger players develop with your staff and then watching them grow in the game? What's it been like seeing those teammates make some strides in their young career and really help you guys secure wins like the ones that you had today?
I think it's been great. I love just helping my teammates. I've been giving a lot of feedback to Leo and Rico about what they can improve on. In terms of ball lane, I don't really know much about that stuff, but I think it's great to just that my teammates are improving. It shows that they have a lot of promise, and the harder they work, the better they're going to get. I like it a lot.
Well, it's clearly showing that development right there. Hansu, last time we had a chance to interview, I put you on the spot and asked you how you thought about Zeus. And I just got to say, because they are also on the opposite side of the losers bracket, there's a chance you go up against them at the end of the losers bracket here. So come on, man. Can you give me just the name of 2 players on that roster? Just 2 of them.
Well, I know
we'll drop it down. Just one.
I know Allura.
Allura, there we go. We got one.
There we go.
There's too many new names to remember. It's too hard.
How do you think it feels to be a broadcast talent, Hanser? With that being said, I think just for Reddit, we got to give Cubby a quick little bicep sandwich here before we send it over to the next little break. All right, there you go, Cubby. Enjoy the show.
I ran 6 miles yesterday. That's about all I got.
All right. Thank you, Hanser. Appreciate the interview again. Congratulations on the win and continuing your run, and best of luck in your future games.
Great win today, Hanser. Good stuff, man. Yeah. Oh man, I gotta start doing. I gotta start doing some more kettlebells, man. Yeah, the sweater.
I just gotta get you out to LA, man. Get you into the Kangas gym. I got deadlift equipment. I got some Atlas stones. We can get some real strongman training going on, Cubby. None of this cardio stuff.
That'll be in the afternoon. I know, man. Tyler 1 was flaming me for doing cardio on his stream. Apparently, we're anti-cardio, but once I run the marathon later this year, that's when we start to rub it in everyone's face, right?
Oh, all right. Well, can't wait to see that adventure over on your social medias. But we're going to set it over to a short break here before we get ready for our next series of the day. Again, coming up next, we got Dignitas Academy versus FlyQuest Academy. Battle of Academy rosters here in the lower bracket. Loser goes home. Winner continues on. You're not going to want to miss it, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
Verizon believes everyone deserves the best. That's why we start with 5G from America's most reliable network.
Verizon 5G is next level.
Then give families plans to mix and match, so you only pay for what you need starting at $35.
You get so much more than this, a great network.
And offer the best in entertainment on select unlimited plans, like Disney Plus, Hulu, and ESPN Plus, as well as Discovery Plus, with a Galaxy S21 plus 5G when you buy one. There's no reason to settle for less than the best. Only from Verizon.